does my history represent something that's healthy? And if
okay.
it doesn't, then I would conclude maybe I'm not as healthy as I think I am.
Yeah, makes
And
sense.
I think a lot of people nowadays don't know the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships.
Absolutely.
Away, and you need time to yourself. Feeling so overwhelmed with problems. Seems like nothing can solve it. Know you need a mental break. Well, come on and pull up a chair and have some fun with a couple friends just like you. Oh, this is Aunties and Mimosas. If you come in a little closer, you'll see we live life like we're supposed to. So come on in and join the fun.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of
Aunties and Mimosas.
I'm your girl, Dr. Shar.
And I'm your girl, Miss Lady.
Y'all, we have a special guest here with us today, Coach Lowe.
Hey,
Welcome.
Coach Lo.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Coach Lowe, can you tell us what you do?
I'm a relationship and mindset coach. I help people heal from toxic relationships and help them cultivate a new mindset, hoping that they can create better results in the relationship space.
Ooh, y'all, this is going to be a good show today.
Come on
I'm
now.
just telling y'all, this is going to be a good show. Well, I guess we should just go ahead and jump on into our drink of the week.
So our drink of the week this week is we have a Prosecco with peach syrup, a little bit of edible rosé glitter, and pineapple juice. Ooh. So we're going to go ahead and sample that today.
Ooh, cheers. Here we go.
Oh, that is good.
That is good. That's a real mimosa. Come on now.
It's so good I had to take 2 drinks.
Okay, now that's good. I like that, friend.
Yeah.
You did that one.
We did that one.
You did that one.
You know. If I can't do nothing else, I can mix a drink.
She's a professional.
Professional drink mixer here.
Mixologist.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our icebreakers of the week.
So our icebreakers this week, we're going to switch it up. So Coach Lowe, what 3 items would you take if you were stranded on a deserted island? You have a lighter, a knife, toilet paper, a flare gun, bottled water, and a hammer. You could pick 3 items.
A knife, a hammer, and water.
Okay.
It's quick.
Yeah, she was
Why
ready for.
Why would you take those?
A knife in case I need to cut something and build, and the knife and hammer for building, and then the water to stay hydrated.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Okay. Dr. Shar, what you bringing?
Okay. I'll take the knife. For sure some water and probably a lighter.
Okay. And for me, I would take the knife, the flare gun, and a hammer.
Okay.
So yeah, protection. Tell people that where I'm at. Flare gun. Flare guns can also catch dry things on fire.
Yeah, that's why I would take the lighter.
Yeah.
So I can build a fire.
So, and then the second question this week is, what is one thing that you think every teenager should learn or experience before adulthood?
I think every teenager should learn how to not be bothered by the opinions of others.
Okay.
To validate themselves.
Self-validation.
Self-validation.
That's a good one.
That's good.
I think that all teenagers before adulthood should learn how to budget.
That's really good too.
That's really good. That's good. I think all teenagers should learn before adulthood probably how to manage their emotions as well, because some of these kids, you say one little thing to them and
they're flying off the hinge.
out ready to kill somebody or kill themselves. Yeah. So learn how to manage your feelings, emotions.
Yeah, because I had to learn through therapy that it's okay to feel it. You just got to go through it. You don't dwell in that, especially when it's negative feelings.
For sure.
Don't dwell in them.
For sure. For sure. All right, y'all. So we're going to switch it up a little bit for y'all this week. We're not going to do no sidebar topics for y'all. We're going to go ahead and jump into our Get your bag.
So our get in the bag this week is not really a tip, but it's just for informational purposes.
Okay.
So in case y'all didn't know that America is trying to ban TikTok. So I know that a lot of people have been talking about that, but the reason why this is on your get in the bag is because money is the reason why America wants to ban TikTok. So China responded to the fact that the U.S. House passed the bill against TikTok. And the reason why is because the American government don't want Americans to support TikTok operations unless they are divested from the Chinese parent firm ByteDance. That's ByteDance. That's a company that they feel like is benefiting from the American people, and the government is basically bullying to stop them from getting money. You know, America be out here deboing other countries.
Yeah, they do.
Well, I also thought that it was because of the media as well. Like the media only shows certain things that they want us to see. Like they don't want us to see really what's going on in the world too. So, you know, China's putting that out there. Like for instance, with the Haitians, how they have the cannibal gang. They don't really want us to see that. And America's kind of like trying to, you know, sugarcoat or, you know, kind of.
So you're saying that the American government is trying to keep America in a little bubble?
Pretty much.
Basically, so that we don't know what's going on in the outside world, and I'll be like, oh, guys, send humanitarian aid, help them do this.
Yeah, and then also I heard that they want somebody in America to buy TikTok, like some company in America to buy TikTok in order to, you know, keep that
Control.
control over the media.
So that makes sense, though.
I got that from, you know,
that makes sense.
from it. So I don't know. But
I understand. The article that I read, of course, was on Seeking Alpha, which is like it's a free publication online that like gives you information about the stocks and stuff like that. So that's where I got that information from. But of course, you guys can always do your own research.
For sure.
You don't have to take my word for it. So yeah, but that's all I have for your get in your bag today.
Okay. Well, we'll do getting your help. So this week, since we are talking about getting your mental a little bit better, I chose protecting your boundaries. So a lot of people don't protect their boundaries, and a lot of people started out as children. Well, everybody started out as a child, and their parents didn't protect their boundaries. You know, they would just be like, do it because I said do it, or do it, it's my way or no way. So make sure that whenever you're in a relationship, friendship, at work, whatever, that you're protecting your boundaries to make sure that your mental is good. Some people will do things to you and you'll be like, oh, that's okay. But really, in all actuality, it's not okay. You go home and you cry about it, or you go home and you're upset. You're trying to talk to everybody about it. But if you don't protect those boundaries and say, hey, you know, I'm not going to settle for this, or I'm not going to stand for this, then people will keep running over you and just doing whatever it is that they want to do. Mental spaces are like fences. Yes. So you have to build those up for your privacy. So if I tell you, hey, this is bothering me, and this person keeps doing it, then you need to say, hey, all right, I'm going to look at this. I'm not going to, you know, continue to allow this person to do this. So
yeah, you can cut people off for your boundaries.
And sometimes you do have to, for your mental health and for your sanity as well. So protect your boundaries, protect your mental health by setting those boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yes, and that's your getting your help for the week. All right. So since we are talking about relationships and building up your mental, I got some questions for you. What is the definition of love to you?
The definition of love. I think love is an intentional choice that you choose to exercise patience and kindness and affection towards someone. It's a commit. Well, yeah, I think it is a commitment to love someone. But I think it's definitely an action that you show someone, and it's a choice that you're making as for that duration of time. I'm not going to say that you're going to love someone forever, because I don't think that that's always the case. You know, we grow, and so sometimes you might outgrow a person, and because you've outgrown that season of your life, the love or affection might change. And again, that's a choice. So I think it's an intentional choice to choose to love someone. And what you're doing is you're exemplifying that through your behavior, like affection, kindness, patience, long suffering.
All the fruits of the spirit.
All the fruits of the spirit, exactly.
Okay. So the official definition of love is intense feeling or deep affection. So you hit all of those points on there.
I like how Coach Lowe stated that love isn't just a feeling, it's actions also. Because people will be like, I love you, but then their actions are total opposite. It's disrespect. It's just not being there for you when you need, and things like that. So I don't know if the standard Merriam-Webster definition of it is right, because
that's what they
need to rewrite that. Because
sure.
love is not just an intense feeling,
Right.
Because feelings change.
Exactly.
They do. With every situation too, so they do change.
Yeah.
Relationship. What's your definition of a relationship?
A relationship is also an intentional choice to participate within the boundaries that you and someone else have determined what those boundaries are. So to act within a space with someone that you agree upon, like we agree upon these boundaries, whatever those boundaries may be, because some people lack boundaries and so they welcome certain things that, just like you were talking about, they may say I love you, but their behavior isn't reflecting that. So I think it's a space between us, maybe one or two people or multiple people, and they operate within certain boundaries, and it's a choice. It's still a choice.
Always a choice.
Yeah, relationships are a choice.
Okay, Webster's definition
Webster be tripping.
the way that two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or a state of being connected. So again, you hit the nail on the.
Just kind of rephrase it a little differently.
Yeah, I mean, it's her job. She's supposed to know. Well, some people slap a label on themselves and they really don't understand how to actually help others. They just want that because it's trendy. But you're very knowledgeable.
I appreciate that.
So,
thank you.
You want to do the last two?
and then the next one is, what is your definition of healing?
I think healing is a continual process that someone chooses, and it requires intentionality, discipline, and awareness. So the practice of being aware of oneself, it's the practice of kind of challenging yourself to grow beyond your current state, recognizing behaviors that don't serve you anymore, and challenging yourself to find a new path or find new behaviors that do fit the version of you that you want to cultivate.
Right.
Reaching that goal.
That's good. Yeah.
That's
I
good.
like that one.
So healing, according to the dictionary, is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again.
Yeah.
But how do you know you was healthy and sound before?
I think that if one looks at their current results in life, in the space of relationships, and says, does my history represent something that's healthy? And if it doesn't, then I would conclude maybe I'm not as healthy as I think I am.
Yeah, makes
And
sense.
I think a lot of people nowadays don't know the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships.
Absolutely.
Because, they may grow up in a dysfunctional family and they think, oh, it's supposed to be like this. But then when they get with someone who's actually healed, or who actually, grew up in a functional, well, I wouldn't say functional, I guess,
Maybe more healthy,
more
healthier.
Healthier.
Healthier family, then they see, hey, this ain't right, or whatever. So that's a good one.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
And then the last and final one is infatuation. So what do you title at, what's your definition of infatuation?
It's probably an unhealthy obsession.
Easy and So the definition is an intense but short-lived passion or admiration for something or someone. So yeah, infatuation doesn't last. And it seems like with social media, a lot of things are infatuation and highlighted.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't know how to or choose not to go for longevity because it's instant gratification, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that also with the social media, like you were saying, with the instant gratification, it does, it hurts us in the long run because we don't have those type of relationships that our grandparents and great grandparents had, to where they had the longevity, or, they were just with each other for very long amounts of time, because we have, instant gratification. I see, this person and I like this person. I want to talk to this person. Oh, they talk to me back. Okay, we're going to talk to them. So,
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
A lot of the things that are coming out now that the families are spilling the secrets, though, is that grandma and grandpa stayed together because grandma put up with his side family.
I think I understand that narrative, but I think what's happening a little bit in today's culture is, and especially in the Black culture, we don't have healthy models of relationship. And depending on who your model is, if I'm looking at, for example, Cardi B, and if my boyfriend is cheating on me, then again, it goes back to normalizing dysfunction. Well, she's dealing with it and she's happy, and they're doing things together as a family at times, and then at other times they're in the news for infidelity, and she's upset, and then she's going and she's venting. All of those things aren't healthy.
Right.
But when those are your role models, because you see it being done, you normalize it within your own space, and that doesn't make it right. So I think, if we had more role models, like maybe the Obamas, or like, I know people feel a certain way about the Cosbys, but if we just look at what they were trying to offer the community, exactly, then that's a better representation. And how can we get there? And if we challenged ourselves to kind of like look at, I think it's important to look at who were your role models as a child. If your mother and father, for example, maybe the way they resolved conflict was by yelling or being violent with one another, look at their relationship today. Is that the relationship that you want? Because you're seeing what their tools offered them.
Yeah.
And is that what I want for myself? If it's not, how do I show up in that same space when it comes to conflict? Am I representing my mother? Am I representing my father? Am I yelling? Am I abusive? You see what I'm saying? And that's taking accountability and saying, okay, maybe those are things I need to change about myself if I want a different result.
Yeah.
Healing those childhood trauma wounds, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And healing shouldn't be so taboo as it is. So I am very happy that a lot of African Americans are coming to the terms that there's things that we were indoctrinated into in our younger years that aren't right.
Right.
And we have to heal from that. And it's okay to seek therapy. It's okay to talk about it. Everything doesn't have to be a secret.
Right.
Because that's the other thing that I personally think, that in the Black household, it's what happened in this house stays in this house.
Right.
And then always what happens in this house stays in this house isn't always healthy, because if Uncle Joe was molesting someone,
Right.
they don't need to stay in the house.
Right.
They need to
Right.
be in the jail.
Right.
Under the jail. I'm just saying.
Or if your mom is covering bruises all the time, they don't need to stay in the house either. We need to get help.
Right.
So I'm very thankful that I would say the millennial group is recognizing that.
Yeah.
And we are trying our best to teach the other generations, and even some that are older than us.
I
Younger
know.
and older, we're still teaching everybody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. How do you really know if you're in love or if it's just infatuation?
I think by the way that it feels, it is difficult for some people to recognize love when they've never seen an example of it.
True.
So it's hard to tell someone like that's not love, because maybe in their household
That
being abused or dealing with certain dysfunction and trauma was normalized because we normalize what we tolerate. And so because mom tolerated it, or my dad, whoever the primary caregivers were, you grow up in this space, and because that dysfunction was normalized, as an adult, we have a tendency to play out our childhood experiences. So I would say, how do you feel? How does that person make you feel? How does that relationship make you feel? Is there reciprocal effort, and is there consistency? Consistency is a really good key of, not key, but
Indicator?
Yes, indicator of someone's intentions.
Yes.
Right.
It is.
If someone is being inconsistent, that's going to cause a lot of confusion. And usually I don't feel that love and confusion go together, kind of like oil and water. It just doesn't go.
It doesn't mix.
So if you're infatuated, I would ask myself, am I in this infatuation alone? You know,
That's a good one.
or is this being reciprocated? Does this person also have a strong affection for me too? Otherwise, maybe I need to take a step back. How does this make me feel? Am I only excited when we're in the space together, or is it continuous even when they're not in my presence?
Right.
So, yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
that answered
really
the question. Yeah, because I mean, it seems like now when you're dating or you're talking to someone, it's just like all of a sudden they just want to be in your space and they want to be in your face, and you're just like, okay, chill out. I have to. Well, for me, let me say this: I have to get to know you, and I have to be able to open up that space and give you time to get into my space, because I'm not one that'll just be like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Hey, I want to be in your face. Like, I'm not that type. So
Right.
it takes time for me.
What's the people that are like 2 weeks into the relationship and they're
I love
saying,
you.
I love you, or let me meet your family, or this, that, and that. Yeah, pump the brakes.
Right.
Pump
Yeah.
the brakes.
It's important to vet people.
Yeah,
That
very much
is
so.
important. Okay.
And then the next question is, are there any key signs to show that a person is healed or going through healing? How can you identify that type of person?
I think some key signs first to identify if someone is in the process of healing is to kind of observe the way that they handle disappointment and conflicts. Are they able to take accountability? Are they able to take time to reflect? Are they able to, when something happens, own it and say, you know what, I recognize maybe that I hurt you or that I made you uncomfortable, and I take responsibility for that. This was my intention, and this is what I plan to do to work on that. That shows that someone's in the process of recognizing their flaws and working on those flaws. And someone that is healed, I don't know if you're ever really healed.
Okay.
Because again, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So I might think that I'm healed, and then something triggers me, and it's like, okay,
Well,
now
never
that
mind.
yeah, exactly. Now I'm recognizing that I need to work on something.
Yes.
But I think that maybe you can tell someone's level of healing by the level of emotional maturity. The way that they, again, handle conflicts, the way that they handle discomfort, how are they showing up in the relationship? Are they mature? Are they able to have those difficult conversations? And I think another key sign is when you have a conflict, what's the recovery time for you both?
Yeah.
Right. Are you guys walking around and avoiding one another or holding grudges?
week and-
Giving
Yeah,
each
that's
other
too
the
much.
silent treatment? Or is this person able to communicate that I need space, and even share what that duration of time is, if, because people have different issues, or I might be a little more anxious on the anxious side, you might be a little more avoidant. So I might need to know, well, what does that look like?
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of assuming that you're going to shut me out because maybe in a previous relationship, that's what I dealt with. Communicate. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Does that look like an hour, or do you need 2 hours? Do you need 3 hours?
Yeah.
But I I wouldn't go beyond 24 hours. I would really challenge myself to handle that within
the first,
within the first few hours, and then come back and communicate that. Or are we yelling at each other? Are we throwing things? I mean, so I think it's their level of emotional maturity, and again, how they're handling conflicts, and how they also handle your emotions, how they make you feel in the relationship. Is this person able to hold space for you when you're upset, or is it all about them? Like, you're just too emotional. Is she being too emotional, or do you just don't have the maturity or the emotional space to hold for her? And maybe that's something that he or she would have to learn.
Now, you mentioned that accountability is something that a person that is healing would have.
Right.
How do I want to put this? In our culture, is it that we as Black women are held to a higher standard of accountability or less?
I think there's a narrative that says that Black women aren't accountable.
There is.
There is a narrative. But when it comes to these narratives that are shared in the public, in social media, I don't always yield to those narratives.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm very careful about what I listen to and what I look at and what I invite into my space, because a lot of that is just programming. So if I can get the Black community, especially the Black women, to think that, right, if I can get them to think that, who does that benefit? And I think that on an individual, we just have to look at ourselves. And when someone says something, this is what I like to do for myself. And I tell my clients this. When someone says something and you're bothered by it or you're triggered, something you can do before acting on that, reacting, is to ask yourself, why is this bothering me, without blaming anyone else? You will find the source. But if you're blaming everyone else, that's lacking accountability. It's because you did this. No one makes you act. No one is in your body making you act any particular way. You're choosing to act that way. And that might be from childhood, because you may have seen your mother be reactive. And so you haven't learned the tools or the skills on how to deal with your own emotions. Like you said, sitting in your emotions, it's uncomfortable. So I'm just going to resort to projecting my emotions onto others. You see what I'm saying? But you have to kind of ask yourself, why does that bother me? Is there some truth to that? If there isn't, why do I need to validate that? I don't need to validate that with negative behavior.
That's good. That's real good. I like that. Because a lot of times you'll see people, you say, oh, you're acting a certain type of way. And they're like, no, I'm not. And then every time that somebody tells them that, they act the exact same way. And then it's like, what's the common denominator? Like, it's you. So that's good. I like
and then
that.
they'll say, well, because she did this or he did this. No, you're the only person in your body.
You control how you react.
That's you control you.
Okay, so you answered our next question already. Do you think true love can last forever? You had already said you didn't think.
No, I think, is it possible? Yes, because it's possible that you can wake up every day and make that choice to be committed and to love this one person. But I think that Disney did us a disservice, and even fairy tale movies, when we see people and the princess with the princess, and they go off into the sunset and they are happily ever after.
And you don't know what
happens after that.
Right. We don't know. We don't know, but we're assuming that they were together forever. And, I've had to outgrow that. It's almost like a mourning. That may not be my reality, and in our community, for us, especially in the Black community, I think it's not always a reality, because we haven't always grown up with the tools. We haven't always grown up with the skill set for relationships. So unfortunately, we're learning as we go. And sometimes you can outgrow a person. And when you outgrow that person, you may have love for them, but, I'm not going to subject myself to certain behaviors that I know I don't deserve, because now I've cultivated a new mindset. I've cultivated a new self. I have new standards. My self-worth has gone up. So I may have love for you, but it's important to be a little selfish and love yourself enough to know that I deserve to be in a relationship that is congruent with where I am in my
now,
life.
not where I was.
Not where I was.
Because
Exactly.
if that person didn't grow with you, you can't continually drag that person you fell in love with at 17
Right.
to you at 47.
Right.
And because you're two totally different people.
Exactly.
One of the things that we discussed before was that every day you grow, you change.
Yeah.
And if you are stuck in the same mindset or the same patterns over and over again, are you really developing as a human?
That part. You're not.
You're not.
Yeah. Just stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck. You're not evolving.
Okay.
So, what are some healthy ways of healing after a broken relationship?
Ooh, some healthy ways to heal. I love journaling.
We got our journals.
We do too.
Yeah, I love journaling. And that looks different to a lot of different people. So I'd say, find what works for you. I've gone to therapy. I've gone to coaching. Those are both really good tools, resources. I would even watch content and listen to things that don't always confirm the negative biases that you developed from that relationship. So a lot of times we get out of a relationship and we like to listen to sad music. Well, all that is confirming your sadness.
Yes.
It's important to challenge yourself to remind yourself and be motivated. If, you decide if you're like in the space where I'm not going to be single for the rest of my life. Okay, so since you're in that space and you're just going through a breakup, listen to things that are uplifting. It doesn't have to be like love songs, but listen to things that are uplifting.
Yes.
Listen to things that are going to make you feel better. I wouldn't wallow and ruminate in that pain.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because we have a tendency to do that. I don't know why we do that, but we do. We have a tendency to get out of a relationship and we want to listen to sad music and listen to people affirm that men ain't ish, and that doesn't help.
Yeah, that don't help at all.
It doesn't help. Exactly. You get almost stuck there for and when you get stuck there for too long, I think that it just makes the growth process a little harder. Right. What else is important? I think being around people that affirm positive relationships, being around people who affirm who you are in a positive way.
Yes.
People that make you feel good, getting out is really important. Exercising for me is really important. That was helpful. Yeah.
So, as 3 women here on the show, can we all say that we've been in a toxic relationship and had to work on healing from it?
I have, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I definitely have also. So with that being said, from the outside looking in, it seems as if everyone has to go through a time of brokenness, for lack of better explanation. So when you're going through that time of brokenness, you can end up getting with someone that may love bomb you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the thing that a lot of people tend to repeat the cycle because we can't or we don't know how to recognize the love bombing. So the next question was, how would you avoid or recognize that someone is love bombing you?
I think you have to ask yourself, because love bombing, they're doing so much very quickly.
Yes.
So, and it feels really good, especially to your ego, like, oh, look, he's doing da-da-da-da,
Yeah.
whatever your flavor is, he, she, right? But I think you have to ask yourself, in a sense, like, do I deserve this? But not from like a...
Am I worthy?
Right, not from a worthiness place, but... have I really earned this
with this person?
Yes, with this person.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And because I would even ask, do you do this with everyone?
Yeah.
So you treat everybody this way? Everybody is getting a Birkin bag or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the first date, like, what is it that you don't want me to see?
Right.
Because it's really nice when I have this sparkly bag in front of me, but I'm actually, depending on what you want in relationship, it's important to know what you want and what you're looking for. And if I'm looking for a serious long-term relationship, I'm really more concerned about you as a person.
Yeah.
Who are you holistically, not the financial. Like, that's nice that you can offer me these nice gifts or nice trips or nice dinner
But then
dates.
some of them go into debt to offer that to you,
that too.
and then want to go back and blame you. Like, it's your fault that I did it because you tried to impress me. I did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunately, some people have this narrative that women can be bought.
Well, they can. Look at social media.
Yeah.
Social media is telling people that all the time. OnlyFans, you know, they're telling that is the narrative. Women can be bought. All these flashy, look what my man did, and then you're not even with that guy maybe a year later.
Yeah.
So.
And you have a Birkin bag, but you don't have a bed.
Thank you.
Or you don't have nothing to put in the Birkin bag.
Right.
That too. Also that too. Yeah.
That's why it's important to vet. It's important because I feel like us as women, we really navigate the speed of the relationship by what we will allow and what we don't
won't allow.
Yeah, exactly. Like the man, he's trying to get into our space. So you're trying to get into my space. So I decide how quickly this goes, not you. And just because you want to see me, I don't have to see you today just because you want to. I think it's important to have a life outside of your relationship so that when a relationship does present itself, you're not so anxious and eager for attention.
Yeah,
because it's really, exactly. It's really the attention. I think that sometimes when we're in a space where we're single, I'm not saying that loneliness doesn't happen. It's because we're not designed to be alone, right? So there may be times where you're lonely, but I would offer you this. When I'm lonely, maybe that's not the time to go on that date. Just like when I'm hungry, it's not the time to go grocery shopping.
Right.
Because you're going to overspend. And that's what happens when you're dating.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to overgive because I'm so lonely.
Yeah.
Then not fix that, but work on that first.
Yeah.
Work on that with yourself first. Why am I so uncomfortable being with myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I should be comfortable with myself because I want others to be comfortable with me. But if I'm uncomfortable, you're gonna project that. And men are predators. So they
By
prey.
nature.
Yeah, so they
By
pray.
nature. Yeah.
And some have gotten so good at it that they can sense or smell that loneliness, that desperateness, and they play on that. So the way you protect yourself is by recognizing that about myself, being self-aware about myself. And maybe this isn't the time. I'm not saying don't go on the date, but if he wants to go tomorrow, I'm not going to go on a date tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let me push it a few days out so that I can make sure that when I do go on that date, I'm in the most confident space I can be.
Yep.
That's good. That's real good. I like that one. Okay. What do you think the key to all relationships are? A key, not the key, but a key.
Compassion is a good key. I think the way you handle conflict is really important because it creates a space of safety. When I know that when I'm not at my best, I can talk to you, and I can come.
Very important.
Yeah, and I can come to you. I can speak my truth, and not all conflict is going to be good.
Right.
I want to know that not only do you love me in the good times, but you love me in the bad times. And that really shows whether or not you're here for me. That shows the resiliency of the relationship. How do we handle conflict? That's been really big for me. And I just think because it shows the depth of this relationship. How deep can we go with one another? Can I say like, hey, that made me feel uncomfortable? And what's your response? Is your response going to be you're insecure, or is your response going to be tell me why, tell me more, so that I can understand your psyche?
Yeah.
You see, I can understand where is that coming from. And that might even teach me something about myself. Oh, this is coming from that, not you.
Yeah.
So let me work on that. I appreciate this conversation versus you're just insecure and that's not helping the situation, you know.
The blaming, finger pointing.
Yeah,
does not
exactly.
help.
No,
Yeah.
and you're really at that time, you're kind of like tearing me apart. And there's like a scripture in the Bible, and like, I'm not trying to get like all religious, but
okay.
it talks about not to tear your house down. Well, that's, it talks about women, don't tear your house down. But that goes for men too. Don't tear your person down.
Yeah.
Because then you're creating a space where she doesn't feel safe, or he doesn't feel safe to come to you and have those deep conversations.
And that's a lot of things that men miss out on, is because I have a lot of guy friends because I online game. And so I end up in long conversations with them, and they don't have that safe place where they feel like unconditional love. Even if they've been in relationships for 15, 20 years, they're like, I don't feel safe. I can't tell her that. I feel more comfortable telling a stranger than to tell my spouse. And as women, and well, I'm not a mom yet, but I want to be a mom. So how would you, and this isn't on the list, but how would you suggest that we reinforce that into our male children? Like that it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to have your spouse be your confidant.
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that really comes from trust. And I feel like trust is broken, or trust can be broken depending on how you handle one another.
Yes.
How do you handle my vulnerability? So I think when it comes to young boys, when they're being vulnerable, show them that it's okay.
Yeah.
And don't tell them boys don't cry and you're sounding like a sissy, and
Stuff
don't
like that.
use those harsh words. Instead, listen to what they're talking about and not reinforce. What is it like?
Maybe reassure them.
Yeah, reassure their feelings, but that's not the word I wanted to use. But in a sense, like affirm their feelings. I would let them speak, affirm their feelings, and like, it's okay to just be human. We have those emotions and feelings for a reason.
Right.
I think that you have to have a balance. I wouldn't coddle my son.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
Allow him to be challenged, allow him to go through experiences where he's challenged, so that he knows that I'm capable, so he has that self-confidence within himself. But I think that it's important that he understands that I can have this vulnerable space with a woman, or with my father, with my family, so that when he goes out into the world and he's dating, he can recognize when he's being abused, or when he's, when someone's rejecting him, and he doesn't make excuses for that person. Because what ends up happening is someone who's in a long-term relationship and he's feeling like I can't talk to her, is because he's tolerated someone abusing delicate or sensitive information. When he was vulnerable, it wasn't accepted. Maybe he felt rejected, and he might, depending on how he grew up, he's normalized that. And that's why he's still there. Instead of setting a standard, saying, you know what, I shared something with you, and when you threw it up back in my face, for example, I mean, I don't know this guy's situation, but for example, maybe he shared something that was sensitive and he was being vulnerable, and women have a tendency, to throw things up in their face.
When you get into an argument.
Right.
Yeah.
And the first time it happens is when you set the boundary, not 7 years later.
Right.
Because you've already told me you accept it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can change, but the likeliness of her changing is, the longer it is allowed, I think the less likely it is to change.
I saw a post on Instagram, and it was a guy, he had proposed to his girlfriend, and he did it in the car. He had the ring and everything, and she was like, no, it's been 10 years. Now you want to propose to me. And that kind of stems with it, because he was, kind of pouring out his heart to her. But she was like, no, I asked you, to marry me, or, I wanted you to propose 5 years ago. And here it is 5 years later. No, you want to propose. You want to give me this big ring. And I don't feel like she should have done it like that. She could have, she was like, oh, well, there's no roses. There's no, this, there's no that. And he was like, well, it's not for everybody else. It's for me and you, And I feel like that kind of stems from, that's going to affect the next person that he tries to propose to, because he's going to be like, well, let me do this big gesture just for you to divorce me in a year or so, so that's a good point to, make sure that, take their vulnerability into account. So that, they don't feel that way.
Right.
Okay. Do you think religion affects was that supposed to be yours?
It's fine, friend. It's fine. I threw one in there that wasn't on the list.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Do you think religion affects relationships?
I mean, it can, because some people won't date outside their religion. And so they're limiting their dating prospects by doing that. So it can, it depends. It depends on how devoted you are, or how much religion plays into your life, how much of religion is playing into your decision making. So
I had somebody break up with me and told me he needs to get his life right with God.
He can do that with you. Y'all gonna sip on that? Okay.
Yep, he told me he needs to get his life right with God, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, were you both the same religion, or?
Yeah, same religion.
Why couldn't that be something y'all did together?
I wasn't one that was like really, really going to church at that time. But, with him saying that, I would have, started going to church or, started having Bible study and things like that. But it wasn't offered. And so that made me feel some type of way because, you just going to break up with me because I don't go to church? Like, that's messed up.
You knew that a year ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you can always bring somebody into your religion if you see that they're not on the same path as you, or the Bible says don't be unequally yoked. So if you feel like that person is not going to, work with you, then okay, cool. But you can always offer it.
I agree. Communication is really important. I don't know why he didn't communicate with you.
The communication was horrible.
Well,
all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the way around.
That probably played a factor in why he didn't communicate. You know what I mean? If you guys
It's okay though. Yeah. It's okay. I mean,
but I agree. Yeah, you can bring someone into your religion for sure. I'm dating someone that's not the same religion as me right now. And I'm practicing Ramadan, but I'm a Christian, or I grew up Christian.
Okay.
So I'm just trying something different. I thought this is a period where I could honor God, but just also showing support to my partner. So, I think different relationships have different dynamics when it comes to that.
Okay.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. All right. Any other questions you got for her?
I am fresh out. No, I don't have any more questions because this session has been very informative. And it's it gave you a lot of tools to do self-reflection.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that our listeners are actually going to use these tools to make themselves better, because the ultimate goal is to just increase the prosperity and greatness of the African American community. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to start with healing yourself. And if you're not healed, hurt people. So you don't want to continue that cycle. So I think most definitely the healing part was a really good thing for us today, because we're always healing.
Always.
Always healing. So
Yeah, I love this too. I just say, to listeners, if you've been in a stream of bad relationships, again, like you said, you're the common denominator, and you've got to ask yourself, why am I attracted to, if I've always been abused by men, why am I attracted to people who abuse me? Why am I, attracted to people who don't take me out, if that's what I want? What standards do I have for myself? Sometimes we think that we have standards, but if I asked you what your standards were, would you be able to tell me?
List them. Yep.
Yeah. So do you really know what those standards are? And your standards are a reflection of your boundaries. And if you don't have any boundaries, that's why people are abusing you or taking advantage of you, or your needs and wants are never being met. Maybe it's because you don't know how to advocate for yourself. You think that you're speaking up, but maybe you've been walking on eggshells, and that's become a part of your makeup that you haven't even realized that this is who I am. I don't actually speak up for myself because I'd rather go alone to get along. And then I'm in these relationships where I feel neglected.
Yeah.
So it always really does truly come back to you. How you're showing up. And your partner is a reflection of who you are. They're always a mirror. Why is this person doing that? again, why are you allowing it?
Yes.
A lot of people too, just get out of one relationship and hop into the next one. And
Exactly.
they're not allowing themselves to heal.
Right.
I know when I got out of my longest relationship, I was single for 7 years and I didn't, date anybody. I talked to guys, whatever, but
Yeah.
I didn't date anybody and it took time to heal. I think they say however long your longest relationship is, it takes you that amount of time to heal. Maybe not all the time, but it does take that, a long amount of time to heal. So a lot of people are just jumping into relationships, hurting themselves even more, hurting other people as well. So
For the fear of loneliness.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. You got to sit in those emotions, like you said.
Yeah.
Sit in it, process
That's
it,
Let
and
it go.
then
Because for
get
me, and another tip, if listeners are not used to journaling or don't, I make lists.
yeah, it's helpful.
So the list is either a pros and cons list or a list of what I'm accepting, a list of what I want next,
Right.
things like that, just to give me a attainable goal.
Yes.
So lists are very important, and that's something that you can use to help yourself along in your journey.
Absolutely.
that's good. Okay. Well, we're going to move on down to our Aunties Friends Business of the Week. So we have Miss Sierra Lesby, and she's a life insurance broker. And so her insurance place is called Inspired Insurance Solutions. You can get her on IG at Sierra.P31W on IG, and she'll help you with all of your life insurance needs. If you need some dental insurance, she can help you with that as well. So y'all hit her up on IG. We'll post tag her in the post
Because I'm tired of fish fries and GoFundMe's to bury Black people.
Look, and then
I'm
you
just saying.
with
I'ma put it
GoFundMe,
out
you don't
there.
even get all the money. They gonna take half of it.
Yeah, so get y'all some life insurance.
Yes, and it's good too. I mean, because when you get ready to die, who gonna take care of your stuff?
And then, Master P, that's his thing. He started his record label, No Limit, from 10K when, I think his grandpa died. Because the grandpa had insurance policy. So you never know. You could be really setting up your generation. Maybe you ain't do it while you was here.
Well,
But you could help somebody else.
Waka Flocka Flame said he takes, money out of his life insurance and he will, go get a house or whatever, and then you can just pay it back, but you're paying yourself back.
Yeah.
So that's a good I got some life insurance. My baby got life insurance. So make sure y'all get some life insurance. Hit Sierra up, y'all. Just not Sierra 1-2-step, but All right, y'all. So make sure you check us out on all of our social medias. We got IG, AuntiesandMimosas _podcast, Facebook, Aunties and Mimosas, TikTok, Aunties and Mimosas, and then YouTube as well, Apple
Podcast, Spotify, and
What's
Google
going on with me
Play.
today?
So make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and follow, and turn your notifications on so that you will
Yes,
know
ring that
whenever we're
bell.
releasing new content and new episodes. And then, Coach Lowe, do you have social media?
Yes, I'm at Talk on Topics. It's TalkOnTopiz. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. Is there anything else? Yeah, I think that's
she's
it.
out there. So
Is that where they can find get an appointment with you if they need to get an
Definitely.
appointment?
The link is in every bio on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Just click the link in my bio. You can book a complimentary session with me. It's absolutely free, just to make sure that our chemistry that we have good chemistry. I can't take everyone. So, but
Had hours. Yeah, just had hours. But y'all tell her that the aunties sent y'all as well too.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. Well, y'all, I think this is the end of our show. This was a great show.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you
show.
so much for
Very
coming out.
informative.
Yes.
And so we just thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of
Aunties and Mimosas. Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
guys.
Get away, and you need time to yourself. Feeling so overwhelmed with problems, seems like nothing can solve it. No, you need a mental break. Well, come on and pull up a chair and have some fun with a couple friends just like you. Oh, this is Aunties and Mimosas. If you come in a little closer, you'll see we live life like we're supposed the